They calculated the exit with the same emotional precision they applied to everything else, measured the distance needed, identified the moment the relationship became too demanding for their nervous system to sustain, and left with the quiet certainty that relief would follow. They had done this before. They knew the script. What they did not know, what their psychology could not have prepared them for, was what happened to you after they walked away. Number 1. They didn't expect you to stop needing their return. The avoidant leaves with an implicit assumption embedded in every exit, that your world will orbit their absence the way it orbited their presence. They expect the grief to be consuming, the pursuit to be inevitable, the emotional dependency they carefully cultivated through inconsistency to keep you suspended in the hope of their return. They calculate on your attachment to cushion the consequences of their leaving, knowing that your love will remain available as a fallback, that you'll be there if they eventually decide the distance was a mistake. What dismantles this calculation entirely is the moment you heal. Not the performance of healing, not strategic indifference designed to lure them back, but the actual, irreversible process of a person reclaiming themselves from the psychological wreckage of loving an avoidant. They didn't account for your capacity to genuinely stop waiting. They left assuming you'd be frozen in the position they abandoned you in, and you weren't. Subscribe to understand the psychology of who you become when you survive what was never meant to be survived so completely. Number 2. They didn't expect the absence to feel like amputation rather than relief. The avoidant anticipated liberation. The relationship had been generating anxiety, demanding emotional labor their nervous system couldn't sustain, confronting them with vulnerability they couldn't manage. Leaving was supposed to silence all of that. And for a brief window, it does. The immediate relief of pressure removed is real and intoxicating. But relief has a shelf life, and beneath it lives something the avoidant never factored into their exit strategy: the specific weight of your absence. Not grief in the traditional sense, but the persistent awareness that something calibrated to their particular psychology no longer exists in their life. The silence that was supposed to feel like freedom begins to feel like the wrong frequency, too empty in a way that general solitude never was. They didn't expect to notice the difference between chosen aloneness and the specific absence of you. They didn't expect those two things to feel so devastatingly unlike each other. Number 3, they didn't expect leaving you to confirm their worst fear about themselves. The avoidant left to protect themselves from the terror of intimacy, from the vulnerability of being truly known, truly needed, truly responsible for another person's emotional reality. What they didn't anticipate was that the act of leaving would become the loudest evidence of the very thing they feared being, someone incapable of sustaining love. Every moment of your growth after their departure, every indication that you are building a life that no longer requires their presence, becomes a mirror they cannot avoid. The mirror reflects not the person who wisely protected their independence, but the person who abandoned something irreplaceable because fear was louder than love. They didn't expect to leave and immediately begin the process of becoming someone they don't respect. They didn't expect the exit to cost them their self-concept along with the relationship. The avoidant left, expecting to win the war. Their attachment style has always waged against intimacy. What they didn't expect was discovering that winning that war and losing you felt exactly the same as losing everything